and welcome back to the Dragon Den. I'm King of Dragons 5000 and today we have another action figure review. From one king to another, today we'll be taking a look at the Mattel WWE Legends Collection, King Booker. Getting King Booker posed and out of the packaging, we're greeted with a very impressive figure. Originally part of the Elite Series 14, King Booker makes his return to your WWE collection. Taking a look at his accessories, King Booker does come with two pairs of hands, as well as his crown, his scepter, and his gorgeous well-detailed cape. Though done in red plastic, the cape still has some impressive paintwork with the white parts looking really good, and the spotted detail is really nice as well. King Booker is looking really good here as he is sporting that same white attire that we got with that original figure. It still looks really good here on King Booker, and it's great to see an updated version. Taking a look at the head sculpt, it's a really good head sculpt for Booker T. However, Mattel did opt to go with that original paint job. Though the paint is really clean, I would have loved to see the photoreal here used on King Booker. The photoreal along with this impressive sculpt would have looked amazing here. Unfortunately, Mattel didn't do that. And unfortunately, his head and his hair are one solid piece of plastic, so the hair is just painted in black rather than being a separate piece. Booker T is using the more muscular torso here, and it looks great. The musculature is well defined, and you can see all the striations looking really good. And all that muscular detail continues on to his very muscular back. King Booker is using the more muscular arms, which goes perfectly with his muscular physique. On each of his shoulders we do have a tattoo. On the left shoulder we do have that sun, and on the right shoulder we have the flames. And then he is sporting white wrist tape, which is going from his forearms all the way down to his knuckles. King Booker is wearing his white tights, which look good, especially with the gold and purple insignia. On the front we do have a regal design where it just has a T, and on the back we have a crown that says King. And unfortunately on mine you can see the paint did get smudged on the corner of the crown. King Booker is wearing the bigger knee pads, which surprisingly are pretty thin and they don't hinder any articulation. And Booker T is wearing his traditional boots with the straps, which looks really good, and I like the fact that it does say Booker T going down the front. The whites and the blacks work perfectly on his boot, bringing out all that impressive detail. King Booker has some impressive detail. Although the paintwork on the face could have been much better, everywhere else it's still pretty solid. And despite that one issue I have on mine with the crown on the back of his tights, I still think they did a great job with the paint. With the paint and details out of the way, let's compare King Booker to our usual suspects. Comparing King Booker to our usual suspects, you will see he'll be taller than your standard Marvel Legends and other domestic figure lines. I honestly have no issues with the size for King Booker, as he'll scale perfectly with the rest of your WWE collection. With the comparisons out of the way, let's have a look at his articulation. Starting at the head, King Booker will have a ball joint in the head. His arms hinge out to the side and do a full 360. Swivel at the bicep and a double hinge in his elbow. He will have a hinge as well as a swivel in the wrist. King Booker does have an ab crunch as well as a waist swivel. His legs will kick forward, go back, out to the side, and have a thigh swivel. King Booker does have a double bend in his knee, a swivel at his boot, a hinge in the ankle, as well as rocker ankles. King Booker will be sporting your standard elite articulation, and I have no issues with any joint retention. All the joints move as they should, and I don't have any issues with tight joints or loose joints. Even his knee pads feel a little bit thinner, as it doesn't hinder articulation that much. So with everything said and done about the Elite Legends series King Booker, let's get him posed for my final thoughts. Growing up, I was always annoyed at the King Booker character, but looking back on it, that was exactly what it was intended to be. King Booker was a perfect heel for his time, and the figure is well done here. I unfortunately wasn't collecting WWE figures at the time King Booker was released, however, I am happy that I finally have King Booker in my collection. I'm honestly impressed with the amount of details that they put into his cape, as it's not just a piece of red plastic, there's actually some painted detail here. Surprisingly, the crown fits atop his head perfectly, not looking oversized, and they didn't have to shrink his hair to make it fit. However, I am disappointed with the hands that King Booker comes with. A pair of fists is absolutely needed for wrestling figures. My gripes about the fist aside, the accessories he comes with are perfect and replicate what we saw on screen. At the time I'm making this video, King Booker is barely hitting my local targets and I only found one copy of him. But be patient, as the Legend series has been quite easy to find, and King Booker will probably be just as easy to find as other Legend figures. And if you're able to find him in stores at the time I'm making this video, you'll pay only $18 for him. If you haven't already added King Booker into your collection, what are you waiting for? Track him down and add him to your WWE shelf. With that being said, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out the rest of my WWE collection. If you're in a position to help out the Dragon Den, check out my Patreon, where I have some exclusive content and early access videos. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my loyal Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm King of Dragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.